Welcome, listeners and viewers. I'm your host, Grace Opa, for Rising Above Shadows of Abuse, or RASA. This is a show where we discuss issues relating to abuse, mental health, society, and culture. Would you like to share more about ancestral trauma? Because you did highlight the fact that humans are multi-dimensional, but we have something to do with maybe generational, I call it generational trauma, but you might call it ancestral trauma. So can you shed more light about that, especially for someone who has got a complex trauma?
Yeah, so basically the ancestral trauma is like your ancestor went through something, and because of that they changed. They started to have a different belief, they started to act differently, they started to have different habits or different reactions, and because they, then they started to live with their own children, the children seen that kind of way of being, so they did the same things, they reacted the same way, they spoke the same way, and then it went through all like to the other generation. So if you grow up in a community or you grow up in a family, like your parents hate this, hate that, they don't like this, they don't like you grow up with that and embody the whole thing, and you give it to your children and to the children. So you have the power to stop these patterns. You have the power with making a different decision as your ancestors did. But do you have the awareness, realize what you're doing, right? So to realize that what you're actually experiencing or the way you handling things, that is maybe not the right way, and you should stop that. So it's even if we go through ancestral trauma or it's we inherit this, we always have a choice to stop the pattern and start living a different life. So it's always on us, we can decide that I don't believe that that's the best way, or I don't believe that that's actually benefits me, and I'm going to do it differently because I believe that's better for me and for my health and for my it's like also the food people eat, you inherit the same style, your everything. So you grow up with that energy, you grow up with that way of being, and then if you have the awareness and then you realize that it doesn't benefit me anymore and I can change, then you should change and stop the certain things.
So in essence, if it's like you said, ancestral trauma, or I call it generational trauma, being passed down from one generation to the other, you being aware would say, no, this pattern needs to stop because it's quite repeated cycle. So you have the right to say, I have to stop this generational trauma or generational abuse. It stops with me, so that the oncoming generation it's not passed down to them. So in a way, you're effectively saying, I need to be healed so that the generations coming after me do not go through what I've gone through.
Yes. And then it's always about personal choice. It's always about realizing that you have a choice. You can make a decision. You don't need to fall into the same pattern. But of course, you need strength and the awareness and just stand on your ground, basically.
If you want more on this topic, kindly send an email to risingaboveshadowsofabuse@gmail.com. Thank you.